Hi, I'm Dr. Sydney Hiller. Today I'm joined by Chris Allen, Rachael Schmidt, and Dr. Jessica Zdinak, our panelists for the upcoming Ginn Masterclass, Navigating the Introduction of Nicotine Pouches into the U.S. Market. I guess we can kick it off by if you can introduce yourself, your role, and how your work is shaping the nicotine pouch industry. Chris, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Chris Allen, CEO and co-founder of Broughton. We're a contract research organisation specialising in analytical testing, scientific consultancy and regulatory strategy, and we operate in the nicotine, pharmaceutical and medicinal cannabis industries. So I think really with the nicotine pouch industry, we're seeing a lot of growth in this sector, but we're also seeing a lot of regulatory scrutiny and also a lot of confusion and uncertainty. Especially when it comes to that PMTA pathway and how companies can meet those FDA expectations. So whether it's product chemistry, the tox assessments, or overall submission strategy, Broughton's goal is to provide that scientific and regulatory insight to companies and help them bring the products to market.
Great, thank you. And I'll go over to Rachael, who's next on my screen.
All right, good morning. My name is Rachael Schmidt, and I am with ALINC Consulting. I recently, I guess now it's been a year, left FDA, Center for Tobacco Products. I spent 12 years at the Center for Tobacco Products working on establishing their laboratory testing network for both pre and post-market testing, as well as in laboratory policy, laboratory science policy related to testing of all products that are authorized within the United States. As well as product standards. So what I'm focused on primarily and what we'll be talking about today is the establishment of product standards and how they might assist in the preparation and the approval of pre-market tobacco products.
Great, thank you, Rachael. And I'll kick it over to Jessica.
Hello, Dr. Jessica Zdinak here. I am founder and chief research officer of ARAC, Applied Research and Analysis Company. We are a woman-owned and a U.S.-based small business organization here in the United States. We are now officially an international global organization focusing on delivering Modules 5 and Module 6, really with our specialty being Module 6 for PMTAs to support products coming to market here in the United States. We have a team of experimental social psychologists, statisticians, survey methodologists, and other professionals on our team. We conduct the majority of our work in-house, which really sets us apart from other types of organizations that are supporting the Modules 5 and 6 for applications. So as far as the nicotine pouch space, I've been conducting personally work in that space for the past 6 or 7 years, and so have really been able to see it grow from an initial concept here in the United States all the way through to marketing authorization recently of Zinn. And so I think our biggest thing that we're seeing that I look forward to discussing with you all and here in a few short days is the impact of the international segment, the international oral nicotine pouch market, and how that is impacting applications within the United States, and how that's further impacting the adult smoker and the possibility of these products for transitioning smokers off of their combustible cigarettes to an oral nicotine pouch. And there's a lot of opportunities there that should be considered by organizations who are seeking an authorization within the United States, and look forward to speaking with you more about that here in a few days.
Great, thank you all so much. Next up, we have what is one key challenge or opportunity impacting the nicotine pouch industry, and how does your masterclass session at EVO NXT address it? So Rachael, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. I think one of the things that people are really interested in right now, and I'm hoping to provide some insight, some foresight, some strategy perhaps, is how the U.S. is dealing with nicotine pouches, especially as we are entering a new administration, new HHS secretary, our new FDA commissioner, who was just approved last evening here in the United States, and how those things may impact not only the preparation, but the review and approval of your PMTAs. Also, given the opportunity, to touch a little bit on what's happening in the environment here within the United States as the new administration makes makes their interests and their wills and their desires known across the agencies within HHS that are impacted.
Great, thank you. And Jessica, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we'll be focusing on in the conversation, as I alluded to in the previous question, is just the translation of pouches coming from the international market and international companies, and that translation into the US. And so what we see is a lot of misunderstanding or misinformation as far as how to get oral nicotine or really any other type of nicotine tobacco product shipped over for sale, but also then how that relates to authorization and the PMTA application process. So there's a lot of misunderstanding there, and really hoping to touch upon that. The complexity really becomes the PMTA process in and of itself. It is a lot involved in submitting an application to the US FDA CTP for review. And our main focus areas, as I mentioned before, really predominantly Module 6, but also Module 5. And a lot of smaller companies are really unaware of what it really means to conduct science to support those modules and those sections of the application. So really looking forward to breaking that part down and making it simple, and then also correcting that misinformation that revolves around of getting nicotine pouch products on market here in the US.
Great, thank you so much, and we'll pass it over to Chris.
Okay, well, I think one of the biggest challenges at the moment, and Jessica touched on this as well, is that, you know, misconceptions, misguidance that's coming out at the moment. But it's really that challenge of, you know, how to navigate the expectations of FDA, because we have the PMTA final rule, there's guidance issued there, but this is very different to set standards which tell you pretty much step by step what to do. And one of those big statements from FDA always is every product is different. You know, products behave differently. So how do you take that guidance? How do you actually apply that to your specific product? So really my focus is going to be on, you know, how you build that strong PMTA application, really taking a deep dive into our areas of expertise, which is around the product formulation and manufacturing from that chemistry and toxicological perspective. So I'll be sharing some of the lessons learned, some of the myths, misconceptions, you know, and how we can anticipate and address FDA's concerns. There's been a lot of marketing granted orders, marketing denial orders, memos issued in relation to vape products. FDA refers to those as ENDs, but very little in the pouch space. So it's how can we learn from those other product types and apply that logic and what FDA are expecting to see for nicotine pouches.
Great, thank you all. And lastly, what insights can attendees expect to take away from this masterclass? If you want to kick us off, Jessica.
Sure. I think this will be really tied to the difficulties that I think many of the individuals coming to attend our session are going to be experiencing, as I just mentioned, which is just the misinformation, not even knowing how to begin. Oftentimes what we see is because they don't even know where to begin, or because the PMTA process seems too overwhelming, they just don't begin, and instead might find themselves in positions that will be perceived pretty negatively by the United States FDA, as well as other enforcement actions. And so I'd like to, hopefully people will walk away understanding that we understand those challenges, and then providing insight on what it takes to take that initial first step within the PMTA pathway, and to know that they have partners, including ARAC and those of us that are on this panel. We work very well together, and that they have partners that they can begin to build a relationship with, and that will assist them all along the way, so that it doesn't seem like it is as daunting as it really is. And so one of those key aspects then is to let the experts do what they are experts in, and allow these companies to receive the expert feedback from us. we have a phenomenal relationship with the FDA, and I support and really respect all of the scientists that are within CTP that are reviewing these scientific applications for authorization. And I think that's a really important thing for the people attending this masterclass to understand that that relationship with the regulator is very important, and finding partners who either have the inside knowledge from previously working there, or because, you know, like ARAC and Broughton, having good scientists involved in your company and in your application, and partnering with folks like us. And so hopefully, you know, folks will walk away from this masterclass and they'll feel relief. We'll provide some insights on then how to partner with individuals like ARAC and those of us on the panel to make it a successful pathway to market for them.
Great, thank you. And Chris, if you want to go next.
I think Jessica's covered a lot of the information there that we want people to take away, but yeah, very much it's providing that high level understanding of what's involved in this process. You know, it's not our job to convince people that the PMTA is the right pathway, but if they are intent on selling their products within the US, then if it's a reduced risk nicotine product, then the PMTA is the only legal pathway to do that. So some of this is about educating, you know why that pathway is actually in place, you know, what it actually means, and you know, being aware, yes, there's a lot of companies taking shortcuts, but are you interested in actually creating a long-term sustainable business with that key mission of switching adult smokers? Or are you looking at this just simply as a short-term opportunity? And certainly if you're looking at the former, yes, it's providing that oversight of the process, making sure you're speaking to the right people. But I think getting across that, as mentioned before, this, you know, every product is different. This is not a PMTA is not a tick box exercise. You know, it's really important you think about that market entry strategy. Have you got the right products? Have you got the right team? Are you creating the right science to give you a scientifically substantiated application?
Great points. And Rachel, I'll let you take it home.
All right. Well, I think there are three things that I'd really like people to walk away with from this masterclass. The first being the understanding of the evolution of the PMTA process. And that means from the TCA all the way to where we are today, as well as understanding that the process is still evolving. And so while it is okay to be, I don't know if this is a popular phrase in the EU, so Chris, you can correct me. It's okay to be building your plane as you're taking off. It is not okay to be designing your strategy as you are taking off. You need to have a well thought out plan. You need to have established partners that you can trust to help you get across that finish line or get into the air, to stay with the airplane. But you can't start. If you start wrong, you'll most likely stay wrong, and that is a critical mistake that a lot of companies make. Is if you start wrong, you don't necessarily get the opportunity to fix that. So that's my next point, is that the overwhelming goal that I would want every company to have is to stay off of the naughty list. Stay off of FDA's list of companies that are skirting regulations, are trying to avoid doing the research properly, are trying to avoid submitting their applications, are trying to come on the market or sneak in doing various activities that may be right on the line. You don't want to start your business in the United States with FDA keeping an eye on you. So staying off that list by starting right is critically important, because as we all know, once you have the attention of a regulatory agency, it isn't something that goes away because you start doing it properly tomorrow. So you will have their attention for a very long time. And then the other one is, honestly, I think one of the key issues that we face is just not having a clear understanding that PMTAs are more than just what's in the TCA, or the Tobacco Control Act, or what's in the PMTA rule within the United States. There are layers, and each of them carry different weights. There are guidances that, while they are considered optional that speak of the FDA's thinking are absolutely critical and need to be thought through and need to be complied with as part of your application. There are memos that were mentioned earlier that are equally important. So understanding that while these are different mechanisms for FDA to convey information and thinking, the value of those can differ greatly, and understanding through your relationship with FDA, the ones that are absolutely critical, regardless of whether it's called a rule or a guidance or a memo, it's vital to the success of your application. And having the right people to help you identify and define which ones cannot be set aside will determine whether you're successful or not. I look forward to seeing everyone in Milan, and I hope that we'll have the opportunity to talk about this and more.
Great. Thank you all so much for being here, and I look forward to continuing the discussion in Milan. So make sure to join us on April 3rd at EVO NXT for insights on navigating the regulatory landscape. You can also register now and send us any questions that you might have. So we'll see you there.